My dear friends, do you know how things really look in a microscope? Maybe you have been also wondering how an injection or an ant bite will look like in an extreme close-up footage. This very innocent ant that you are seeing is not any less than an evil entity in a microscope. The famous coronavirus, which ruined many lives, how does that actually look in detailed zoomed inspection? If you haven't seen all this, then don't worry, because in today's video we will show many things like this. What's coming up next will simply amaze you. Before we start our microscopic journey, do not forget to like and subscribe, as this video is a result of many hours of hard work and dedication. Now let's start with our first object, injection needle. My dear friends, when we inject the needle into our skin, then it will leave a wound looking somehow like this, in which you can clearly see that how the needle rip our skin and enters our body. Coronavirus. My friends, have you ever heard another name for terrorism? Meaning, have you ever seen the contagious coronavirus in a microscope? If not, then you will see it today. After taking a look into a mask belonging to a coronavirus patient, we could easily see the virus, which is looking really dangerous. Magic tape. This widely used magic tape, which you might have been played with in the past, but have you ever thought how this tape works? Look, my friends, the real reason why this tape is connecting so well can be only seen in a microscopic footage. As you are seeing, the tape is having small hooks on one of the sides, and the other part have plastic fibers, which makes them grip together. Ball pen. This is a vital part of our lives, but do you know how it works? When you zoom the pen's applying part in a microscope, then you will see something like this. Beneath the pen, there is a small ball which is moving according to the movement of the pen. The ball is the reason for the pen's ink to come on a paper in a line-shaped text. Fingerprints. Do you know how everyone's fingerprints are different? Come, let's look at it. When a finger was put down in front of a microscope and zoomed in, then we could clearly see the lines of the fingers, which could also be seen even during sweaty conditions. You can also see how these lines are different and unique, and that's the reason that every human have different fingerprints. Human tongue, which is a multifunctional organ. In the absence of a tongue, we won't be able to talk or taste any food, but how it looks in a microscope will make you question our whole body. On our tongue, there are a lot of dots. These dots cannot be seen directly with our eyes. However, all these can be easily detected through microscope. The dots look much bigger on animals' tongues. Human blood. Looking at blood with bare eyes can be seen in the shape of liquid. You may have been thought why we are seeing blood structure like this, or maybe not. However, my dear friends, what we are seeing now is a microscope picture. But if you look at human blood in real time with a microscope, then this is how it actually looks. If this amazed you, then wait for the next objects. Plants. Back in your school or college days, you may have heard that the plants give food with the help of sunlight. But how? Let's find out. When the plant strip is looked into via microscope, then you can clearly see the cuts in the plants. Because of these holes, the sunlight will reach inside the plants. This gives the plant energy to give food. Curd bacteria. You may have heard of this bacteria, but what you have not seen yet is how this bacteria looks in close-up. Wonder not, because we got you covered. As you know, there are a lot of bacteria in curd. All these bacteria could easily be detected with a microscope. Now you might be thinking, why on earth do we eat it if it has so much bacteria? Then let me tell you that the curd bacteria is not harmful to our body. Grass. In our childhood when we played, sometimes we used to just pick or rip the grass off from our garden or in the wilderness. What we witnessed is that sometimes the grass cut our skin and we started bleeding. Do you know what could have been the reason for that? Stay focused, because the next microscopic footage of grass will reveal something that nobody has seen before. With a microscope, we can clearly see that the grass has some tiny needle-like structure, and these structures is the reason we got those cuts. Razor blade is something we use daily, and its importance is underappreciated. But how does this sharp tool actually look in detail? When we brought a new blade and tested it with a microscope, we could see these details. It looks sharp and flawless, but after some usage, the shape is a whole different. The cracks you see is from it being used a lot of times. This scenery is impossible for us to see normally. You must have also witnessed that our hair grows way faster with a razor blade than with a hair trimmer. To find out this, we did an experiment with both of the tools. The result is in front of you. What we can see to the left is hair cut with a blade, which is a clean and fine, while the one to right is cut with a trimmer. The hair cut with a trimmer looks like that someone has ripped it off with bare hands, and it looks damaged and injured. And that's the reason for its slow growth. Ant. This creature is not what it looks like. Wait till you see it in a microscope. Its terrifying look is scarier than most of the evil entities you have seen before. We should thank God, because if this creature was bigger, it would have done serious damages to humans and other creatures. Sand. This is something that we don't give much attention to. Every time we see the sand, it looks like it's all similar sized. Looking into it with a microscope tells another story, and you won't believe that this is sand. Peacock. This bird is really beautiful, and it looks even more amazing in close-up. Peacock's feathers looks like threads, and the structure is very complicated. Human eye. Our eye, one of the most important part of our body. A life without eyes would have been the most depressing thing. But have you ever seen an eye in a microscope? When we look at eye in a microscope, it looks like we are entering into the oblivion, or another universe full with stars and other planets. It also looks like a black hole, but that's our lens which we can see everything with. Salt. When we look at salt, it looks like round and fine, but in a microscopic footage we can clearly see the rectangular shape of it. Chalk. One of the most used object, the chalk. This tool is a variety of limestones, composed mainly of calcium carbonate. However, this chalk looks very strange in a microscope. My dear friends, we hope you learned something new today. If you did, then we would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching and welcome back. In and out, covered.